Hey guys, Primestone Millennius here, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of the Showbiz Pizza Place located in Nodeck Drive, Fargo, North Dakota. Let's begin the video. The Showbiz Pizza in Fargo, North Dakota opened February 8th, 1984. Unlike the other Showbiz pizzas, this one's exterior is very special. It's very big, and it has a special awning, a dark red and yellow awning, which was made to look like the Hollywood Celebrity Hotel in Los Angeles, California. The interior is very special from other locations as it has a special blue design and wall art. Another location that has this exact same blue design on their walls is one in Waco, Texas. Just like all Showbiz restaurants, they featured a Rock-afire Explosion show, a band of robotic forest animals that sung for guests while they ate pizza in a dimly lit room. The characters were Billy Bob, who was the mascot, Looney Bird, Fats Geronimo, Mitzi Mozzarella, Duke LaRue, Beach Bear, and Rolf and Earl. This right here is the only photo I have of Fargo stage, and as you can see, we have Billy Bob and Looney Bird. What's interesting is that they have a sign that reads, "Danger, parents, please keep kids off the stage." Unlike other locations' showroom walls where the walls were slanted and were covered with wood, this location is kinda inward with a little more space. The Showbiz Pizza in Fargo, North Dakota was doing pretty good until Showbiz Pizza found out they were losing money. You see, Showbiz Pizza Place was losing money and almost about to go bankrupt. Then Showbiz decided to merge with the struggling franchise and decided to merge with Chuck E. Cheese to form a company called Showbiz Pizza Time Inc. or Showbiz Pizza Time. By 1992, all Showbiz restaurants were rebranded as Chuck E. Cheese's, which also included Fargo's location, and Fargo became a Chuck E. Cheese in 1991. So, what happened? During this transition, all Showbiz pizza restaurants went through this process called concept unification, and it was about taking out the beloved Rock-afire Explosion characters and replacing them with the Chuck E. Cheese characters. Basically stripping the Rock-afire characters from their fur and clothes, reusing and recycling their mechs and turning them into Chuck E. Cheese characters and switching them around. Rolf the Wolf became Chuck E. Cheese, as we know. Duke LaRue became Pasquale the Chef. Fats Geronimo became Mr. Munch. Beach Bear became Jasper T. Giles. And Mitzi Mozzarella became Helen Henny. Unfortunately, Billy Bob himself wasn't used for anything, but Looney Bird became a creepy talking camera. Occasional background characters like the sun was replaced with a creepy talking building with lips. And Choo Choo the baby bear was replaced with Munch Jr., Munch's cousin. The only character who survived was the moon, making him the last remnant of Showbiz. Here is some footage of Fargo stage back in the 1990s. You can see that the Rock-afire characters were replaced with the Chuck E. Cheese characters. Back in the 90s, you can see that Chucky wore a black tuxedo with a gold shirt. He also had a magic stick in his hand. Also, all the characters were wearing latex masks. The reason why, because the Rock-afire Explosion previously had latex masks. Fargo's Jasper was one of the Jaspers to actually keep the old Beach Bear guitar. And Pasquale had an interesting drum front, which was orange. It had an orange swirl, and it was yellow, and it had stars on it. And also, Munch had an interesting sun keyboard with an interesting sun design. Things would mostly stay the same for Fargo until the early 2000s. Before I start talking about the changes that happened to the stage, I just want to point out that they actually had a purple bus in front of the building. I don't know if this was a remnant from Showbiz or they just parked it in front, but it looks amazing. It's all purple and it has the Chuck E. Cheese characters on it, and it read, "Follow me to Chuck E. Cheese's." I don't know if this was ever used or they just sat it there for decoration, but yeah. During the early 2000s, CC Entertainment had to go through some budget cuts, which meant getting rid of some special things. In 2005, they stopped programming the curtains, leaving them either abandoned or just removing them together. For Fargo, they just didn't work and they just kept them abandoned. Another thing to note that they started replacing the latex masks with plastic masks due to parents complaining about them scaring children, and also the melted latex would have caused problems to the mechs. For some reason, during the 2000s, both Jasper and Pasquale still donned their latex masks until 2008. During this decade, they started replacing the tuxedo with the Cool Chuck outfit you see here, which is blue and khakis. Fargo did keep some 90s stuff like the latex feet and shoes of the characters and Pasquale's drum front. Unfortunately, the sun design on Munch's keyboard was removed and replaced with this current one. Did anyone notice Jasper's strumming hand was on the wrong way? Due to budget cuts, they started removing the prop characters like the creepy building, the moon, Munch Jr., and Pizza Cam. Munch Jr. was obviously the first prop to be removed, and then they kept building Moon and the camera until 2006. During the mid-2000s, Helen wore a Bison 10 cheerleader outfit, a little tribute to the character she used to be. Also, something interesting. During the 90s, some rebel decided to keep one of the little prop rocks or boulders from the Rock-afire Explosion and sat it right next to Helen Henny.
Guys, look, the moon is not back here anymore. It's been gone since 2006.
During the 2010 era, Fargo's stage relatively stayed the same. Of course, the 90s cosmetics like the shoes and stuff were removed. Unfortunately, in 2010, some person thought it was a good idea to remove the old Showbiz pizza rock that sat near Helen Henny. Oh, brother! I mean, come on. That thing has been there since the beginning, and they did not think enough to preserve it. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, Fargo was one of the Showbiz locations to have the canvas backdrop, which was basically a blue blanket with painted clouds on it. Most Showbiz restaurants had this. Some just painted the wall blue, and what remains is the yellow 2x4 header, which can be seen from time to time. Unfortunately, during the 2020 era, luckily they survived during the Chuck E. Cheese bankruptcy, but unfortunately, as for the show condition has started to go downhill. The characters started to show their 1980s age, and some of the movements don't work anymore. During Halloween, Pasquale's curtain, which was also Billy Bob's curtain, was completely closed. This was used because they were repairing him.
Like, come look at him.
Around 2021, they replaced the black rain curtain with a purple rain curtain for Chucky's stage, which looked pretty cool. Unfortunately, 2022 would be the last year for these robot characters, as the end was coming.
Time, and that means it's time for the Yuletide Slide.
Ever since 2015, CC Entertainment was thinking of remodeling all their restaurants to make them more, hip and cool with the young crowd, which meant the removal of the beloved animatronics to be replaced with a TV and a dance floor.
Oh my god, bro.
Ever since this abomination was announced, many CC fans were absolutely infuriated about this. There were petitions saving the animatronics. People started sharing hashtags saying, "Save our shows." And there was one little kid who hated this remodel so much, he actually got the attention of the company CEO. But of course, CC as a corporation didn't care. So now the company continues remodeling stores and destroying the robots, which includes Fargo, unfortunately. And Fargo got remodeled in 2022. Now, if you like 2.0, I respect your opinion. We're just saltier than the Atlantic Ocean that CC didn't even bother to sell or auction off the characters. Even though Fargo kept the old Showbiz Pizza looking building ever since the beginning, the design is very different. It now has brown circles and a new green design. At least they kept the classic Avenger Chuck instead of that ugly Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends looking Chucky with no eyebrows. The good news is some relics were kept, like the old red and cyan chairs and seating. The purple and tan walls remain, and the nostalgic and arguably creepy smiling kid posters were kept, which were literally my childhood. All they did was give the restaurant new carpeting, installed the crappy dance floor, and the Dave & Buster's looking TV. The unfortunate news is the animatronics were removed, the entire stage was ripped out, and the animatronics were thrown in the dumpster, not saved whatsoever. But at least the chairs and some of the art remained, but I highly suggest enjoying them as they're there, as CC might do something dumb. Despite the loss of the beloved animatronics that have been there since '84, guests seem to kinda like this new remodel. And that's how it goes. The history of the Showbiz Pizza in Fargo, North Dakota. Thanks for watching this video.